It's green for go. They're racing.
He says go.
He says ta-da.
And Tiger Tara roars away from them on the home turn.
Here comes another big boil over.
Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more.
This is in one race. The rest are almost in another postcode.
She is a star with a capital S.
It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that?
It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Hello and welcome to episode 101 of the Sprint Lane podcast for Harness Racing New South Wales. My name is Greg Hayes and this is the Sunday session where I have a look back at the main race meeting of the week in the state and have a chat to some of the leading players out of it. Massive podcast this week for you. I've got 4 guests, and it could well have been 5 if I chased up young Owen Shea, who drove his first winner at Albury on Tuesday. I'll try and get Owen in coming weeks to find out a little bit more about him. The Eureka, it's only a month away. It is the world's richest harness race. It is the second running of the race, and this event just keeps on giving. This time a week ago, we had 2 slots left. Team Zav and Kevin and Kay Seymour had their slot, but with the news Frankie Ferocious has been withdrawn from the race, we now have 3 slots left to fill. So, the 7 confirmed slots at this stage. Soho Standard Breds has never ending for Justin Prentice. I spoke with Justin on the podcast a fortnight ago. If you missed that interview, it might be worth going back and having a listen. Well worth it. Cordina Racing has captain's knock for Brad Hewitt. It went okay up in Queensland. Aaron Bain and Summit Bloodstock, they locked in the Lost Storm for Emma Stewart and Clayton Tonkin. John Singleton, they went early this year and they locked in Don Hugo. I spoke to Jason Turnbull about the decision in the last month on the podcast. So Jason Turnbull, one of the advisors helping Singo, they went with Don Hugo. Racing Queensland slot was won by Free Thinker in the Hayden. So that gave the Seymour's one runner in the race. Western Jewel, now they'd locked in Extreme C, but after it broke down, they've now got I Keep Smiling for Luke McCarthy. So Wayne Loader went with I Keep Smiling. Taz Racing slot, that was won by Fighter Command for Greg Sugars and Jess Tubbs in the Bow Tide last week. It wouldn't be surprising to see Team Zav go with one of their own. Petrarca and Oliver Dan both raced last night, both below their best. Oliver Dan was run over by LaBelle Bijou at Melton, which you wouldn't think would be strong enough form to win a Eureka unless there was an issue. And Petrarca has now had 3 runs back from a spell, named after the Melbourne AFL player Christian Petrarca. The horses campaign this time in. It's mirrored the Demons season in 2024, one in which they'll miss the final. Kevin and Kay Seymour already own Free Thinker, so they've got one in the race. Do they put another of their own through? Will they go with a Queenslander instead? Whisper a Secret won the Rising Sun, ran 4th behind Blazing Home in the 4-year-old championships, and the tab. Well, surely Major Delight has to be in their crosshairs after her win last night. She made it 4 on the bounce, is better suited over a longer trip than the mile, and has an impeccable record on the Menangle track. It definitely makes for interesting racing over the next month, that's for sure. I do like to highlight innovation in harness racing. I mentioned the drone cameras used by Racing Queensland at the start, where about a month ago, I think I mentioned on the podcast, just that ability to see the start from above, and we could see Leap to Fame getting off the inside after drawing awkwardly. I just want to give Racing WA a pat on the back for its social media coverage of harness racing. They've been doing it now for a while through Twitter, or X as it's now called. They do a live stream of the parade ring where a host walks around and talks to the drivers in the lead up to the race. Now, understandably, some drivers keep their cards pretty close to their chests on tactics. However, for those wagering on Gloucester Park, it's nearly a must-watch. Drivers are asked about their options at the start, what the instructions from the trainer have been, and how they think the race will play out. I'm not sure of the cost to the industry, but effectively you're paying a cameraman and a host. Racing WA harness only have just over 3,000 followers on Twitter, so they don't have a huge audience. But for anyone betting on the product who isn't watching these live videos, do yourself a favour and check it out. Great innovation. And from little things, big things can grow, as I've mentioned on this podcast a few times. All right, enough from me. Who's on the podcast this week? Big one, as I mentioned earlier, 4 guests. First up, I'll catch up with Peter Lewis. He is the owner of Major Delight. She won the Norm's Daughter at Club Menangle on Saturday night. Now, Peter trained her mother, Lady Euthenia. I used to hound him 3 or 4 times a week when she was racing. to get updates on her. It'll be good to catch up with him. Haven't spoken to Pete in quite some time. Definitely going to ask him if there's been any Eureka nibbles since that win, that's for sure. Cam Hart, he's back in the country. He went straight back to work on Saturday night. He won the Pink Diamond on Renewal. Cam has been enjoying some time in the USA after the end of the Brisbane Winter Carnival. Spoke with Will Rickson on the podcast last week about the premiership race, and he was 12 behind Cam at that time. Well, he's now cut that lead to 6. Gareth Hall had me on SEN during the week, and he was talking to me about the premiership race, and he posed the question, who wins? I said Cam. I think now he's back. He takes back a lot of drives that Will was picking up, and he should be able to re-establish a handy lead. Gareth did mention that Jack Callaghan was going to work for Jason, and while Cam would keep the drive on the top ones in the stable, like Swayze, Jack would be picking up a lot of the regular drives, so he wasn't so sure that Cam would hold on to that lead. It's going to add a bit more interest into the racing for the next month or so, that's for sure, and we'll see how it all plays out when we get to the end of the year. So Cam Hart's going to join me, fresh from his US trip. What about Steve Lee? 4 winners at Albury on Tuesday night. Haven't spoken with Steve on the podcast previously, so I'm going to reach out to him and have a chat about the 4 winners and how big his stable is. Plus, David Wonson, the racing manager from Club Menangle, will join me. The reason I'm getting Wonno on is to explain the changes to the Eureka Carnival this year. Last year, the Singo was run a fortnight out, and from that, Singo picked his runner, and the emergencies were selected. However, totally different this year. There's no Singo. So David Wonson is going to come on and explain for owners and trainers what is happening this time around. Plus, I'll have the Menangle Express where I look at every race. I've received some feedback in regards to the Express this week from a leading driver in New South Wales and also someone across in WA, and they both said they enjoy that part of the podcast, so that's good to hear. And I've been highlighting Malcolm's Rhythm for 2 months recently. Every week I've been saying how good it's been going. It finally won. And I also mentioned Ideal Marquez was one to follow out of last week's meeting, and they both saluted last night. So hopefully people stuck solid. Mr. T, he's back from saving people from around the world, and he'll have a couple of tips for us at the end of the show. Hopefully he can turn them into winners. In the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka said, "We have so much time and so little to do." Strike that, reverse it, and that's exactly the podcast today. First up, Peter Lewis.
As they're about to swing in, the Norm's Daughter leader is My Moonlight Dream. Major Delight's not there yet. Sweet Agenda back to the inside. Treacherous Gal tries to wind up. My Moonlight Dream getting the staggers at the 200, and Major Delight's powering home with Sweet Agenda. Major Delight hit the front from My Moonlight Dream, who's battling back the inside. Nothing between them. Major Delight wins it.
Well, I remember when Lady Euthenia was at her top, I was speaking to this bloke every week to find out how Lady Euthenia was. Peter Lewis is the man who trained her and, of course, owned her, and now owns a pretty special one out of her. And Pete Lewis is joining me to have a chat. Hey, Pete, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Greg.
Mate, good to catch up again. And after last night's performance of Major Delight, it seemed timely. Major Delight definitely giving you some excitement.
Yeah, no, she's in great form at the moment, and hopefully she keeps that up. Maybe hopefully eye off a Eureka spot with her.
Well, there's not too many slots left. I guess has there been anyone asking the question whether you're open and whether you're willing to do some negotiations to get into the race?
Not at the moment. I think it's pretty open at the moment, so they're all sort of holding their cards pretty close to their chest, I think.
Well, she definitely deserves it. She's in tremendous form. She loves Menangle, importantly. She's only had the 7 starts this season, and she's only been beaten twice. Once was in the Robin Dundee, and then she was beaten in the Riverina Championships. But she just looks like she could run through a brick wall at the moment. Yeah.
She's a pretty tough mare, so she would be perfectly suited for a race like that. You know, anything over. I mean, miles not her, exactly ideal distance. So, probably a bit longer, would suit her better, and in a race like that, she could probably be, she wouldn't have to do all the work, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, she took a career time last night, 150.3, so she's at the peak of her powers. Was that always the plan, to get her back here for last night's race to to put her name back up in lights in front of the judges. Obviously, she raced at Melton only a few weeks ago and was good there in the Jane Ellen, and she won at Menangle the week before in the Stylish Memphis. So is that just the plan at the moment, just to keep her racing and showing the people with slots that she's going well?
Yeah, well, it wasn't really. I mean, it wasn't really the plan to sort of like we were sort of before her runs the last few weeks where she's got on a nice run. We were sort of thinking, well, I think most of the slots were taken. There was only a couple left. Obviously the Tasmanian spot, you couldn't get into that, and the Queensland spot was going to be taken anyhow. So we were just sort of thought, we'll just aim for some mares races with her. But she's got on a nice roll with those, with the winning most of those. So she's starting to, we're starting to think, come into calculations for that race now. So, but no, we're sort of just ticking along with sort of aiming at the mares races at the moment. So, we'll just see what happens. But I mean, we don't want to sort of overdo her either. If you want to aim for that race, you want to sort of have a cherry ripe for that race. So, we'll have to sort of look at whether we sort of start aiming for that now and sort of not give it, too much racing leading into it,
Well, I can't think of one that's in better form of the 4-year-olds going around at the moment, and there's still 3 teams or 3 slot holders that need to commit to someone. Tell us a little bit about this mare. She's always shown ability from day one, and she's always been down with Emma and Clayton. Have they always had a big opinion of her?
Like even in the paddock as a yearling, like we always, she was a great looking type, for us Feathers Delight. So, she would have got a lot of money at the sales if we put her through there, So we thought, she's got the right looks and that. So we sort of sent it to Ricky Alchin to break her in, so got good reports from him. But she wasn't. We didn't really have a pusher early, so. Yeah, so once we sent it to Emma and Clayton, we sort of didn't. I mean, they always sort of said that she was probably one of the better ones in their stable, but until you sort of push the button with them, you don't really know.
Yep.
But once she started racing, we sort of knew that she's pretty special then.
So what's your thoughts on selling yearlings? You're not afraid to sell. Do you try to keep the fillies? Is that what you do, or do you like this one, so you decided to keep it? How do you work out what you sell and what you keep?
Yeah. Well, just through general experience about watching yearlings as they come along, and mainly the breeding with them. Like being by Bettor's Delight out of Lady Athenia, that was the one I'm sort of aiming at to keep if I got a filly. So, so we decided to keep her, and so mainly comes down to breeding with them. Whether I keep which fillies I keep. But you got to sort of work it out as a business a bit, because otherwise it can send you broke.
Yeah.
So you got to sort of sell most of them, and then just keep the odd nice filly that comes along.
Do you get a bit of a buzz when you see Max Delight win, seeing that he's out of the mare?
Yeah, yeah, he's going terrific, isn't he? Fantastic. Yeah, no, we always follow him. So, he's. I think being by Bettor's Delight looks like he just keeps going on forever.
Yeah, no. And what about Ash DeLoza? Do you have much say in the way the drivers are picked, or does Emma and Clayton look after all of that? How's the relationship with Ash DeLoza come about?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think when we first put her in at Menangle about a month ago or a few weeks ago, she most of the drivers were in the driving in the carnival at Queensland.
Yep.
So there wasn't a lot. I think a lot of the drivers were sort of taken up in that race. So I just sort of I didn't really speak to Emma or Clayton. I just saw Ashley on the horse. So I thought, she was. I mean, the horse is pretty. She's got even though she's got a few quirks, she's not real hard to drive, sort of thing, and like once they watch their tapes and that, they see how they usually drive them. So, yeah, but she's doing a fantastic job, Ash.
Yeah, she gets on very well with her. She's only had the 3 drives. She won at Menangle in that stylish Memphis. She then went to Melton. That came as a bit of a shock. They obviously had some confidence in her to take Ash down there. And then last night she drove her in the Norm Daughter as well. So what happens now? Emma and Clayton just going to keep putting her in mares races and hope you get the slot, I guess? That's what happens going forward?
Yeah. Well, it'll just all be up to. I mean, obviously she's done a few trips up to down to Menangle or up to Menangle, so we'll just see how she sort of pulls up. And you don't want to sort of, as I said, you don't want to sort of overdo it too much and keep racing her just to get a slot. You know what I mean? Like she's because I think she's won the last 4 now. So so she's done enough, but we'll just see. Maybe there might be something just leading up to the race, maybe a couple of weeks out. So might put her in something around about there, like maybe a mare's race, maybe either Melton or Menangle.
Yep.
So, we'll just go from there. Hopefully, like they might hold off a while too, the slot holders, because just to see these horses get into some form, because there's a few floating around.
Yeah. This has got Encipher feels about it, because Encipher was late into the race last year, and obviously from Emma and Clayton, and being the mare. So, fingers crossed for you, mate. I'd love to see her in the race. What about Lady Euthenia? What's happening these days with her? Do you keep going with her?
Yeah. She's at stud, still breeding with her, and just the same thing. I just sort of keep the odd one and sell the others. Usually sell the colts, and I might keep the odd filly to breed from down the track. So she's been a great race mare and a great brood mare. So hopefully her daughter can carry it on, mate.
Yeah. Look, she was one of my favourites back in the day. She won 11 of her first 12. She was beaten on debut. Then she went on that winning streak. She won the New South Wales Oaks. That was a huge night for you, and backed her a little way out there too. So she was pretty special to me as well. Well, all the best of luck, mate. Congratulations on the win last night. Were you confident going into the race last night?
It was still a pretty handy field, even though the favourite Arctic Express had come out. So we weren't, but we were still, we know that we're pretty confident in her, that she can either lead or sit outside them, and she's pretty tough, and she's very laid back mare, so she'll only do what she has to do. So we're pretty confident going into it.
Well, mate, congratulations with the win. I wish you all the best of luck sneaking into the world's richest harness race, and fingers crossed you get there. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Thanks, mate.
27 for the quarter. They're really starting to amp it up now. And the leader is Renewal, and she quickly shook off the challenge of Cheeky Kiss. A lot of lovin' gets going now at the 200 metres. Renewal still clear by about 3 or 4 metres, but a lot of lovin's coming. Cheeky Kiss hooks back on. Renewal getting tired. A lot of lovin's chiseling into the margin. Renewal has to fight. A lot of lovin will come very late, but too late. Renewal wins the Pink Diamond.
He's only been back in the country for 24 hours, and he's back driving feature race winners. Cam Hart took a well-earned break over in the States, but returned to Club Menangle on Saturday night to drive Renewal in the Harness Breeders New South Wales Pink Diamond Stakes, and the 3-year-old filly proved too strong, recording a mile rate of 1:53.7. Cam Hart joining us to have a chat. Good morning, Cam. How are you?
Yeah, morning, Greg. Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Mate, back home in Australia. How was the trip over to the States?
Yeah, it was awesome. I really enjoyed myself. I was there for 10 days. It probably wasn't quite long enough, but, it was better than nothing. And, really enjoyed it. It's a bit of a different world over there, but, had a great time.
So, keeping up on your socials, I see that you attended a few meetings. How was that? Were you there meeting people, or were you just there as a spectator?
Yeah, no, it was really awesome. I was just happy to go over there and see how it all worked and try to get to, a couple of racetracks while I was there. And, it's definitely, pretty excited to go over and meet some of the trainers and drivers over there and just see how it all works.
How was Hambletonian Day? That looks like a pretty special race day to attend sometime in your life, because it's a great day of racing.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's the best horses and trainers and drivers, going at it. And, the racing there was just incredible. The times they were running, it's pretty awesome to watch. And, definitely, if anyone ever wanted to go, I've definitely got, plenty of good things to say about it. Had a great time. And, hopefully I can get back over there for another Hambo Day.
Mate, a lot of Australians see what we get from Tab and Sky in regards to the American racing, but there's a lot more goes on than just those meetings that we see on our screens. There's plenty of other meetings every day that the drivers can go and drive at and be part of.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Greg. It really blew my mind, to be honest, and that's probably what I've said to a lot of people, since I've been home. It blows your mind how many racetracks they have over there and how many days a week they go. There's so much racing, and that's probably the big difference compared to Australia. Like, a lot of the drivers are doing 2 meetings a day, 5 days a week. So, pretty crazy how busy they are.
Mate, you've made no secret to it previously. American racing interests you. Does this get you closer at some stage in the future to getting over there to try your hand at being a freelance driver in the US?
I can definitely see myself over there for sure one day. It's always been a dream of mine, and I think it'd be a great test. And I'm quite a competitive person, and I'd love to try and test my skills over there at some stage. But I'm not in any hurry. I've obviously got tremendous support here in Australia, and a lot of great trainers giving me support. So at the moment, I'm really happy here at home. But definitely one day down the track, I'd love to give it a crack.
I'm not sure whether you caught up with the debate when you're over there in the States this week, and it's been all over you versus Will in the State Drivers' Premiership. I was doing an interview on SEN with Gareth Hall, and he says, who do you think? Well, I said I thought you'd be able to hang on. Will has cut that lead from 12 to 6 this week. So you're back in time to reignite the Premiership battle. There's still a long time to go, but with Will Rickson, it should be a pretty exciting few months anyway.
Yeah, definitely. It should be a good battle, and obviously it's no secret Will and I are great mates and have been for a long time, but we're both very competitive people, and this next 4 or 5 months to the end of the year is going to be some great battles on the track, I'm sure, and hopefully I can hang on. Does
the premierships mean much to you?
Oh, it definitely does. As a kid growing up, you want to be the best you can be, and if you're winning premierships, it means you're doing something right. So I've been lucky enough to have good support the last 3 years and being able to take it out. So, hopefully we can keep that going.
All right. Well, let's have a look at Renewal last night. What did you make of her driving that one for Emma Stewart?
Yeah, she was good. She had a pretty nice run out in front, and she come home a really good back half. So, I thought she was, waiting for him a little bit at the top of the straight, but thought she was really strong through the line and really, toughed it out that last 100. And
getting to lift the cart, basically. There, look, I know you've done it previously, but just watching you last night, there was a real American feel about that drive in the last 300 metres when they were coming at her.
Yeah, well, obviously being over in America for the last 10 days, you're watching, the best drivers in the world drive, and I'm always trying to better my skills and my style. So, if I can, try and adjust something in my style to get a little bit more out of the horse, I'm going to try and do it. And hopefully going forward we can keep getting a bit more out of the horses.
Let's have a chat about some of the beaten ones. Brooklyn Bridge ran third for Jared Alchin in race 2. What did you make of Brooklyn Bridge?
Yeah, he was really good. Thought he'd been a little bit below par his last couple, but thought he was really back to his best. You just didn't really get any live cover on the outside. I thought I had to tip early and make all that ground myself, but was really happy with the way he moved, and hopefully he's sort of on the way back to his best.
Now this one will have a bit of Eureka coverage. Petrarca finished second last in race number 3 for Emma Stewart. Obviously, Danny Zavitsanos has that slot to issue to something. What did you make of Petrarca's run?
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with him. I didn't really like the draw on paper. I thought I was always going to have to probably do the work myself at some stage with the speed that was drawn under me, and it did work out that way. I had to go first over in a quick mile, which probably isn't really the horse's go, but didn't have a lot of choice. But yeah, it's probably still just a little bit disappointing, but he didn't really have a lot of luck in the run.
Has there been any talk to you about what Danny's doing? Like, you haven't been booked or anything like that?
No, there hasn't really been too much chat. I don't think they've really decided. I think a lot of the horses, that are up for grabs are probably on their way back to racing, and I think they're just sort of trying to work out over the next couple of weeks, how everything's shaping up.
What about speculating in race number 4 for Chris Judd? Again, you're cruel by the draw, really.
Yeah, it was just a tough draw for him. I would have liked to have gotten a bit better forward position early, but wasn't to be. And I thought he really closed well. They still went decent after sectionals on the way home, and he was giving them up a lot of starts. So I was pretty happy the way he went through the line.
And also in race 7, you drove Captain Tom for Jared Alchin, who had to come from last. And when it turned the corner, it looked as though it was going to be in the finish, and you were only narrowly beaten by Ideal Marquez.
Yeah, he was awesome. It was the first time I'd sat behind the horse, and he gave me a good feel. He had a bad draw as well, and like a couple of the others on the night, I just got a bit too far back, but he really moved good, and I think going forward, he's going to do a nice job at Menangle.
So you're back for good for the rest of the season. You've had your mid-season break.
Yeah, I'm back for good. Hopefully we can get some nice big wins at the back end of the season, and it was nice just to get away and have a freshen up, and I'll be ready to press on through the next 4 or 5 months. All
right, mate. Well, good to see you back in the country. No one can knock your work ethic. Flying in at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning and back at the races Saturday night, and driving a winner. All the best of luck going forward, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
Well, it's not far away now. The running of the Eureka, the second running of the Eureka. And, well, we've still got a few pieces of the jigsaw to go into place before we can be looking at the field. But there are some important lead-up races for the event. And I thought we might catch up with the racing manager for Club Menangle, and that is David Wonson. Hey, Wonno, how are you?
Good, thanks, Hazy. How are you, mate?
Mate, really?
For a while, it's good to chat.
Yeah, mate, it's an exciting time with the world's richest harness race just around the corner.
Yeah, really exciting. Everyone's starting to get on their toes around here, especially in the office. You definitely know something's important around the corner because everyone's really, really busy, and there's a little bit of stress levels already. But this is what you work for. This is what you work in the industry for, these moments. And so, really exciting, and expecting another huge crowd and atmosphere like we had last year.
Well, there's going to be some great entertainment off the track as well. But in the lead up, there's been a little bit of a change with the final way to be declared an emergency for the race. So this time around, we're only going with the 1 week before the big one.
Yeah, last year we had the Singo, which we know John Singleton picked out Captain Hammerhead, which was run a fortnight before, but the emergencies also came out of that race. This year, Singo's picked his horse, Don Hugo. So what we've done is we've put the 3 and 4-year-old race. It's still got similar conditions. The only way you can become an emergency for the Eureka is to compete in this race, and you must finish in the top 4. So the first 4 place getters in the 3 and 4-year-old stakes, there'll be a sponsor announced this week as well of the race. The 3 and 4-year-old stakes, which is a week before, top 4 will be the emergencies for the Eureka, and importantly, they will be guaranteed a run in the $100,000 stockade that's run on Eureka night. Sure Thing Captain won for Shannon Price last year. There's already been a couple of inquiries, Hazy, a couple from Victoria, a couple of New South Wales people, of course, and there's been one in Queensland just inquired on what that is. But look, for simplicity, go in that race, finish top 4, you're in a $100,000 race the following week. It's $130,000 you're competing for. It's nothing to be laughed at.
You'd think that there'd have to be some interstate trainers who'd say, well, let's go up, let's throw our hat in the ring for that $30,000 race, and if we run top 4 or we're one of the emergencies, and if, we don't want to see it happen, but if something goes wrong, we're a chance to get into the world's richest harness race, and if we don't get in, we go around for $100,000 anyway.
Absolutely. And like if you're not in the race, the next best thing is to be an emergency. And as we've seen recently, like the race has been turned on its head. It goes back 6 weeks ago. Would have you been backing anything the way they've been going, Extreme C or Frankie Ferocious? Like the two of them had a mortgage on the race. You would think on the form that they were displaying, both gone by the wayside. So anything can happen. As you said, we just don't want anything. Yeah, you'd hate seeing those sort of things, especially if you're declared into the field. But if you're not going to be in the main race, be an emergency. Next best thing, and you're going around for 100,000 the following week anyway. So
obviously, you have to be an Australian-bred 3 and 4 year old to go around in that 3 and 4 year old stakes, and that's the Eureka eligibility.
Exactly the same conditions. Yeah, exactly the same conditions. Preferential draw is done exactly the way it is for the Eureka and the Stockade. Everything's the same. It's over the 2,300. That's the way it's got to be too.
Mate, I've been having a bit of a discussion about 3 year olds taking on the 4 year olds, and I personally think it's extremely hard. We're going to get we had some nice 3 year olds go around in the race last year. We're going to have a nice 3 year old in Fighter Command go around in the race this year. What are your thoughts on it? It's obviously a big step for a 3 year old to take on a seasoned 4 year old.
Well, there's no denying they're 12 months younger, absolutely. But, Hazy, I got a bit of a different view. My view is their birth certificate says they're 4 at September 1. They're 4 year olds, really, on their birth certificate. But the way the racing seasons are panned out now, their calendar years, they still say 3. As I said, I might be a bit the other way and a bit hard on them, but yeah, I look at their birth certificate that says they're 4. Depends on what preparations they've had leading into it. If they've had it, which you do need that 1.5 mile preparation for this race. We've seen that last year. Horses that have been competing over the longer trips. And Encipher was one of those. A couple of those mares races she won were over the 2,200 at Melton. So it had that grounding already. But yeah, no, I don't think it's that hard a thing for them, personally. And they get the good barrier. So, yeah, that's just my opinion on it. If you've got a good 3 year old, what you can do this year, don't put off. And I'll use a really unlucky example is better be the best. The form he was in last year as a 3 year old, and they did say, no, we don't think he's right for it. We're going to go around as a 4 year old. And, things happen.
Yeah. No,
and I just think he's a perfect example. The way he was going last year, the way he won the Breeders' Blue, I'm not saying he wins of course I'm not saying he wins the Eureka, but he wouldn't have been out of place in it.
Yeah. No, that's I haven't thought of it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, best laid plans. Sometimes get what you can get when you can get it.
That Eureka night, that's going to be huge. Some of the support races, obviously, we've mentioned the Stockade, but you've also got the Len Smith Mile that night again. That's the $150,000 event, and then all the Blue finals.
Yeah, it's an amazing program what we had. It was a great race for Len Smith. I think Rock and Roll do, one from Michael Stanley. But it was a great field. They all went across the line together. Great turnover on the race. The Breeders' Blue finals, all $100,000 races. We're going to have another free-for-all, which is basically the ballots from the Len Smith Mile. So, yeah, it promises to be a great night's racing. Entertainment on the track and off the track. People that experienced it last year, all they've talked about is coming along this year. Ticket sales are going through the roof in all the function areas. As I said, there's a couple already sold out. And the Tanya Harris has already gone. The Parade Terrace, Miracle Mile restaurants, all but. And that lawn party marquee is already over 200 people. So, really, really exciting for the atmosphere and the crowd that we're going to have.
If people want to grab one of the few tickets that are left, what's the best thing? Get onto the website of the club?
Yeah, get on the website, clubmenangle.com.au, and just follow it through. It'll tell you exactly where to go. But I really suggest over the next couple of days, people get on that website, because I think Miracle Mile Restaurant will be sold out this week, and that's still 3 weeks before the Eureka. So don't miss out. Don't be disappointed. Get your tickets now, and you know you'll be here.
Well, mate, exciting times. Trainers, take note of that lead-up race. It's only a week before the Eureka this time around, a chance to go around to qualify as an emergency for the race, and obviously the only way to get into the Stockade as well. So very important that interstate trainers and also our local trainers understand the rules. And, mate, I'll catch up with you out at the Eureka. It should be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, sounds good. Always good catching up with you, Hazy.
Past the 400 in the direction of the 3, Electrojet strides up on the outside of Kenaturio, who's got no answers so far. Sally M, and trying to keep on coming is Orlando Storm, but Electrojet, it was an early move, one off the inside. He'd only have to trot the home straight to win this. Electrojet's a long way in front. Orlando Storm trying valiantly with Jakarta and Sally M, but all in vain. Electrojet and Steve Lee's got 4 on the card. Electrojet runs them into the ground.
What a night for trainer Steve Lee at Albury. 4 winners on Tuesday. Remarkable performance, and it's good to catch up with him on the podcast. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Greg.
Mate, congratulations. 4 winners. That's a very good effort.
Yeah, no, we're all pretty pumped on the night.
Had you ever trained 4 winners before on a card?
No, that's the first time.
Okay. And what about, have you had trebles or doubles before?
Yeah, we've had a few doubles. I don't even think about a treble, but no, we've had plenty of doubles and things like that. But yeah, no, never had 4 before.
Wow, that's great. Now, let's run through them. The first one, I didn't lose it. George drove the horse, but a 5-year-old mare who won by 1.5 metres and did a good job coming from midfield.
Yeah, she had a lot of ability when she first started racing, but then she sort of lost the plot there for a while. But we think we've straightened her out. She's starting to come good again.
You bred her, didn't you?
Yeah, she's bred to be a trotter.
Okay.
She's by Peak and out of a mare that's a sister to Down Under Muscles and about 5 Group 1 winners.
Wow. So did you try her as a trotter?
Yeah, couldn't trot out of sight in the dark night.
And so what, you just decided to throw the hovels on and see how she went?
Yeah, no, every time she'd sort of look at something, she'd roll into a pace. So I said to Jimmy, we may as well try a pace. And so, geez, a result.
Wow. All right, so you think you've got her now starting to hit her straps?
Yeah, I think we've straightened out a few little problems. She's got a few ongoing ones, but hopefully she's might have turned the corner again. Like I said, when she first started racing, she won a couple of races pretty quick and did it in pretty good fashion, but then sort of lost the plot. But hopefully she's turned around.
The second winner, Major Mucha, a 6-year-old, and a rough result, but Owen Shea with the winner.
Yeah, no, he drove his first winner. He shouldn't have been them odds, really. Like, we've only given him 2 starts. He ran 4th, come home really good, and then he run 2nd at Young, and then he come out and won there. So Owen's drove him every time. So he's only a new addition to the stable.
What can you tell us about Owen?
Yeah, well, he helps Mick Sullivan here at Canberra, and he helps us. He does our stables for us in the morning. So, yeah, he still goes to school. He's only had, I think that was his 10th or 11th trial or something. So, yeah, he's a good young kid.
How did you come about to get Major Mucha?
Yeah, well, they just rang up and see if we wanted to take a couple of horses. I think they were in Tasmania, and then they come up here and had a start at Wagga, and we brought them home from Wagga. So we got him and the other little fella that won, Ultimate Me.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's been pretty good.
Ultimate Me was the third winner, and this one showed pretty good speed and then took a nice sit.
Yeah, no, we thought he could nearly win. Well, first start we give him, but George drove him and he made a bit of a mistake on the first corner and then sort of galloped again later on. But no, he goes fair. He's pretty well graded. So he's no star, but he's a good, honest little horse. Same as the other little fella that won.
So will you keep just try and find another race for Ultimate Me? Nothing special on target for him.
No, just find as easy as races we can for him.
Yep. And then the trotter. Well, you had a few starters in this one, but Electrojet, she's been racing extremely well, and she was able to score really comfortably.
Yeah, well, she was a handicap, certainly, really.
Yeah.
When you sort of look at the race, when we'd sort of won 3 and she was coming up, I thought she was our best hope for the night, so it's looking pretty promising. She coming up.
She's been racing really well in a lot stronger races. She did win at Menangle going back to the first or second week of July, so you've got her ticking along really nicely.
Yeah, no, we bought her on one of them online auctions about 12 months ago from Davy Dam Farms, and she took a little while for us to straighten out. She's got a few little quirky habits, but yeah, she's sort of trotting really honest at the moment. She ran second on the Saturday night there, probably a month ago or something. So she's won, I think, 3 or maybe 3 for us now. So yeah, no, she's poking along good. She's a nice, well-bred mare. We sort of only bought her as a brood mare.
Yep.
We thought if we could sort of get our purchase price back, and she's sort of doubled that now. So we're a long way in front.
So how long? How will you give her another season, or will you look to put her in foal this time around? What are you going to do?
Well, we were going to go this time round, but the way she's trotting, we might give her another 12 months. She's nearly up to the 100,000, so it'd be nice to tick that over.
Yep. Yeah, you've got a fair few trotters in the stable. You obviously like the trotting gait.
Yeah, just worked out that way. We got a couple early, and they went all right. And it just sort of snowballed a bit from then. We've probably got just as many trotters as we got paces at the moment.
And you James Locke does a bit of driving for you, obviously George as well. So the young guys, they've got good claims and they're doing a good job at the moment.
Yeah, both grandsons. So Jimmy's helped me ever since we've been over here at Canberra, and he's helped us when we're working on the farm.
Yeah.
When he left school and before school, and George left school at the start of this year, so he's come and worked for us. So yeah, it's going really well.
How many horses?
Really happy.
How many horses are you training there?
You've got 15 at the moment.
This is plenty of work then.
Yeah, there's no shortage, mate.
Well, mate, I do thank you for joining me on a Sunday morning. You've got plenty to do, but congratulations on the 4 wins at Albury. That's a very good effort, and we'll keep a close eye going forward.
Good on you, Greg. Thanks a lot.
Race 1, fave was Serge Blanco at $2.70 as we have a look at the Menangle Express and go back through every race at Menangle on Saturday night. Speed early in the first from Arden's Ace and Serge Blanco, with Serge wrestling the lead off Arden's Ace, and they settled down pretty quickly. Pegs was Serge Blanco, Arden's Ace, Tishan Raider, Porter Prince and Terry. Running line was Malcolm's Rhythm, Double Act, Boots Electric and Mac Da Vinci. Caught 3 wide and eased to be last on the outside. 27.3 first quarter, and then they put the brakes on. 30.9 second. This helped the eventual winner big time. Nothing moved until they got to the corner. 28.4 around the side. Dash up the straight. Serge Blanco flat stick. Arden's Ace couldn't get a run until late, and the lack of mid-race speed made it near impossible for the run-on horses. Malcolm's Rhythm stuck his head out, scored a deserving win. First one for a very long time. Serge Blanco had every hope. Maybe went too slow. Arden's Ace couldn't get clear at a vital time, and when the run did come, it was too late. Thought Mac Da Vinci was a bit better this week, and after some below-par efforts, was better. And Terry finished last, but couldn't get into the clear, had to ease and was making up ground once it warmed up. Final quarter, 26.5, mile rate of 153.1. Race 2, favourite Brooklyn Bridge at $4.20. Speed early from Kanina Provlima, Brooklyn Bridge and Our Money Rocks. Kanina Provlima protected the inside and held, so the pegs, it was Kanina Provlima, Where You Been Bobbin', About Time, Jillaby Sylvester. Running line, Our Money Rocks, Brooklyn Bridge, Star Major, Unfazed, Loyalist and Like a Wildfire was caught 3 wide and kept progressing forward. First quarter, 27 seconds, Like a Wildfire got to the chair with 900 to go, 28 for the second quarter, so they didn't back off a lot. Just past the cages, Like a Wildfire in the death seat was gone. That forced Our Money Rocks and Brooklyn Bridge out, but earlier than they would have liked. 28.3 round the side. Kanina Provlina got going, and it gave the horses on the pegs a bit of room to move with that taking off. Where You Been Boppin' came to the outside. Brooklyn Bridge started to sprout wings down the outside. Kanina Provlima rolled right off the inside, and there was room for Jillaby Sylvester and About Time. Where You Been Boppin' got to the front, held off all the late challengers. Smart Drive, Cody Rauschenberger never left the pegs and got second. So that was good with Jillaby Sylvester. Brooklyn Bridge, really good. You heard from Cam Hart earlier. It'll be winning soon. Kanina Provlima just had to do too much in the second quarter. That effort told. Unfazed, very good in 6th spot. Savaged the line from a long way back. Follow It, racing well. Not much in regards to the rest. Race 3, Fave Petrarca at $1.75. There was speed early from the 3 in the market. Doug's Platter, Pitch Perfect and Petrarca. Pitch Perfect crossed Doug's Platter, and then Petrarca was left posted. So that forced Surface Delight and High Voltage to go back after being out 3 and 4 wide in the run to the first corner. On the pegs, it was Pitch Perfect, Doug's Platter, Black Onyx, Dance and Deliver went back to the inside. Running line, Petrarca, Jillaby Nitro, Super Smart Drive, Will Rickson, right spot, right time, straight onto the faves back. Ugachaka, Boom, Surface Delight, High Voltage. First quarter 26-8, and they opened right up on the pegs, which gave Cam Hart the chance to drop 4 pegs for a short breather with Dance and Deliver not hard on the back of Black Onyx. So Petrarca got a little bit of a breather. It was forced out, though, at the half and was back first over. 28-5 second quarter. Petrarca moved up to challenge on the turn. Doug's Platter pushed out to make room from behind the leader. Jillaby Nitro actually looked to be in a bit of trouble, but just kept coming. 27-1 third quarter. Doug's Platter got out, went past Pitch Perfect. Petrarca was gone. Then it was Jillaby Nitro to the outside. He started to rattle home, nailed Doug's Platter right on the line. 27-9 home for a 150.3 win. Drive one Jillaby Nitro the race. Doug's Platter was good. He's back to his best. Pitch Perfect. Robbie looked like he wanted to get the race over as fast as possible on a few last night. Black Onyx saved ground. Dance and Deliver did the same. Ugachaka up in grade, got home okay. Petrarca beaten too far from home for my liking. Race number 4, Waterboy Jack Fave at $4.80, so an open race. There was speed early from Ryan's Gangster and My Mate Menko. Ryan's Gangster led, but then My Mate Menko came back around for the retake. They found their spots pretty quickly and went slowly. Pegs was My Mate Menko, Ryan's Gangster, Cash and Bling, Son of the Shark, Terry Rama. Running line, Colonia Courage, Dying Art, Waterboy Jack and Speculating. Lead time slow, 51-3. And Waterboy Jack, Will did it last week. He was out from the running line and ran to the front by the time they got to the winning post after getting involved in a little bit of a speed battle for the front, but times say they didn't do too much damage. 29-2 first quarter, followed by a 29-9 second quarter. So the leader did get a big lungful of air. Speed eased off. They went through the third quarter in 27-7. Colonia Courage levelled up with Waterboy Jack. My Mate Menko eased off the inside and moved Dying Art out of the way. Cash and Bling and Terry Rama got wide. Colonia Courage looked the winner until the 60-metre mark and then just ran out of petrol. Went from travelling okay to just stopping. My Mate Menko was only battling, but with the leader stopping, My Mate Menko got there on the line. Second horse really brave. Any cover at all, and it wins the race. Speculating good down the outside. It can win with a better draw. Ryan's Gangster would be competitive back in midweek company, I think. It could be winning very soon. Race number 5, the fave here was Major Delight at $1.75. There was speed from My Moonlight Dream, who led easily. Pegs, it was My Moonlight Dream, Sweet Agenda, Carrera Sunset, Total Diva. Running line, Major Delight, Little Bliss, Treacherous, Gal, not to be denied. Once they found their spots, there were no moves at all. 26-6 and then a 28-5 second quarter. So not much respite. Josh Gallagher, he did his impression of Seaton Grimer by taking off just after the cages to try and take the favourite out of its comfort zone. Definitely broke the field up, and he nearly pinched the race too. To her credit, Ash DeLoza never panicked. She didn't go out and chase the leader. She just drove her own race. 27-6 around the side. Major Delight took half the straight to level up, but got there in the shadows of the post. My Moonlight Dream was really brave. It can win soon. Not a lot to report from the rest. 27-6 up the straight, 150.3 the mile. I think the winner deserves a crack at the Eureka. Race 6, the fave was Renewal at $1.35. Speed early from a lot of lovin' and Renewal, but Renewal was able to cross to lead, and they went into single file over the mile. So Renewal, a lot of lovin', Divine Girl, Zenaloo, Bolero, Cheeky Kiss, and My Bulla Bus. There was no speed, and that forced Matt Rue to come away from the inside, and he went and sat parked with Cheeky Kiss with My Bulla Bus following up second over. A 28-3 first quarter, 30.8 second quarter, just past the cages. Cam kicked the deafeners on the leader, and she took off. And Cheeky Kiss looked to be in trouble. 27-4 around the side. Renewal was off for the prize. A lot of lovin' came off its back to have a crack in the straight. Cheeky Kiss started to wind up again. Renewal was flat at the 100, but set up too big a break. She looked to get a little bit unbalanced late, but she held on narrowly. A lot of lovin' good in second. Cheeky Kiss just hit a flat spot on the turn because it was good in the straight. 27-2 for a 153.7 mile. Not a lot to report out of that. Race number 7, fave was Captain Tom at $2.80. There was speed from Kalara Samurai early, but it looked for cover, or it always looks for cover. And Man from Bravos came forward and got the early lead pretty comfortably. Pegs, it was Man from Bravos, Kalara Samurai, Mayor of Elwood, Denny Rocks, the Metal Flyer. Running line was Power Up Kaitoa, Ideal Marquez, Sheffield Sparky, Captain Tom. 26-8 first quarter, then 29-2. But the leader was given no peace. They started to roll through the third quarter, 28-2, and there was no moves until the turn when they fanned into the straight, which left room for those on the pegs as well. Kaitoa loomed out of the 1-1. Captain Tom looked like it was about to go boom down the outside, but Ideal Marquez revved up in the middle and found in the straight. The Metal Flyer was running up onto their backs too. Ideal Marquez held them off late to score for Cam Fitzpatrick as he recorded his first win back. So congratulations to him. Captain Tom, huge. It'll be winning soon. Follow it. Kaitoa, good. Christy O'Sullivan has got this one going well. And the Metal Flyer off a better draw. It might be worth following too. I think there might be a few winners come out of that one. 28 seconds for the final quarter. Mile rate of 152.2. And race 8 was the Trot. The Locomotive was your $1.50 fave. There was a lot of speed in this one with Toro Stride, Sunny G, the Locomotive, and Caligula all beginning well. Toro Stride got down to the pegs. The Locomotive was trying to do enough to keep Caligula out 3 wide, but it crossed Caligula, and that forced the Locomotive to go back looking for the pegs, and it ended up 4 pegs. So they settled in single file. Caligula, Toro Stride, Sunny G, the Locomotive, Super Service, King of Love, She's a Pleasure, and Hot to Trot. 26.5 first quarter, so they had to come up for air. 29.8 the second, 28.9 round the side. Hot to Trot broke prior to the home turn. The Locomotive and Sunny G rolled out, and then Toro Stride waited until they were into the straight to make its run. Caligula was going to tire after that blistering first quarter. That meant Toro Stride hit the front, dash for home. Good drive, Jim Douglas. Hard early, got the right spot, and it won the race. Super Service was great in second. Another snippet from Will Rixon's interview last week. He said, don't be too hard on him off his run last week. He needed the run. So for those that took heed of that, congratulations. Caligula got tired and held third. He has tremendous. He's got pacing speed for the first 400 metres. The Locomotive was still coming home at the finish. His run was okay, not for the punters though, at $1.50. Final quarter, 28.3, mile rate 153.5. Best win of the night. I'll go Malcolm's Rhythm. Hasn't saluted in a race since the 27th of November 2021 when it won a heat of the Inter-Dominion. So long time between drinks for it. Death Seated, that's not its go at all. The time was slow, but it out-sprinted them up the straight in a fast last quarter. So I'll go best win of the night, Malcolm's Rhythm. Best beaten effort of the night, there's a few here. Captain Tom, really good up the straight from the tail of the field, but follow Unfazed, follow Brooklyn Bridge. I think they'll all be winning pretty soon, but Captain Tom will go as best beaten effort of the night. And best drive of the night, Will Rixon planted Jillaby Nitro onto the back of Petrarca as soon as they said go. Really smart drive. Other honourable mentions, Ash Delosa on Major Delight didn't panic when Josh Gallagher took off. And Jimmy Douglas on Toro Stride in the last, but Will Rixon was a man on a mission with Jillaby Nitro and upset all of the big guns.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winning. Hey, that's pretty good.
Winner!
That was legitness.
That I say, all right. Wow, winning.
Bam! Just like that. That's all there is to it, Dustin. That's all there is to it. A winner. Just like that.
And the winner is...
Well, Mr. T got a winner last week, Boulevard of Dreams, but it only paid $1.30. I had $5 each way Red Reactor, and it nearly caused the upset at huge odds on Tuesday at Menangle, but $3.40 a place isn't a bad return. So overall, I'm minus $59, and Mr. T is minus $61. So there's not much between us with only a few weeks left to go in this series. Mr. T, he goes to Young with no Bathurst. Race 2, number 1, race 3, number 1. Race 2, number 1 is Line Dance for Nathan Turnbull and Jai Coney. 1-4 starts back at Parks. It's been placed twice since. It's got good gate speed. It should be prominent from the draw, so it looks pretty hard to beat. That's race 2, number 1, Line Dance. And race 3, number 1, Chock-a-Block. 1-4 starts ago at Parks. Monica and Phoebe Betts combined. Had 4 wins this year, but 2 runs at Young. It's failed to place in either. However, Mr. T thinks that will change on Tuesday night. My 2, both at Menangle Tuesday. Race 6, number 4, Aureus. Now, it's a former Victorian. It's now with Blake Fitzpatrick. Was beaten by Elusive and Renewal last time out and did do a fair bit of work on that occasion. Didn't blast off the gate, but worked around them to sit parked. This is no pushover field. There are some nice horses in the event, but I think the Victorian form might measure up here. So race 6, number 4, Aureus. And race 7, number 9, Paradise Point. Now, it's a 3-year-old taking on the older horses, but it does get into the race extremely well with the allowance for the 3-year-old and Tom Callaghan's claim. The draw's a bit of a concern, but it's been racing well of late. It's been competing in races where Saturday night horses have been going around. So I'll go Paradise Point in race 7. That's race 7, number 9. That just about wraps up the podcast. Big one. 4 guests today. Thanks to Pete Lewis. Thanks to Cam Hart, Steve Lee, and also David Wonson for joining me. I'll be back next Sunday for another episode of the Sunday session, but it's bye for now.